Alright. Album review. Ready. Ready. I hope it's recording. It's recording. Not too sure why I would play 3 6 Mafia for Eminem album review, but it's my life. This is it though. Marshall Mathers LP 2. It actually was released last Tuesday. Like I said in my last video, I wanted to give myself enough time to actually listen to it and give you enough time as well, so you know we're both on the same playing field. So this album, I have quite a few notes on it, so much so that I actually have the complete review on my website. This is just kind of a recap video of it, just so you can hear what I'm saying, just the main points. First and foremost, I'm going to state the obvious. This is an actual CD with the price tag. Why would you? I'm not being Gucci, showing how much I paid for it. It's just to show that I'm bringing this back when I'm done. Not that it's a bad CD. It isn't. It's just that I already downloaded it legally on my computer. I just needed something to hold in the video. I just need someone to hold this to real note. So I have a couple notes here. Not gonna feed you my whole written review because you can always read that on your own. But let's start off with some basics. Been listening to Eminem for as long as I can remember. I was introduced to him like many people were with the My Name Is. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's a white guy. I hope he goes far. Although like commending him, like, good for you. It was funny. It was like a cartoon character. And then by the time he dropped a Real Slim Shady, that's when I realized he's a pretty big name. And I really wasn't, how do I put this? I really didn't know much about him through the Slim Shady LP. It was mainly through the singles like My Name Is, like I said, and Guilty Conscience, Big Role Model, a couple other tracks. But then once he dropped the original Marshall Mathers LP, that's when he was just hitting them with bombs. Real Slim Shady, Stan, Kim, what's the other one? The Way I Am. Just tons of tracks. And then by the time Eminem Show dropped, it was just, come on, it's Eminem. You know all about him. So now I'm stopping at the Eminem Show only because, in my opinion, I don't want to talk about Encore. It had a couple of tracks, but I just don't like talking about Encore. And then it's so bad I forgot his name. Relapse. Really wasn't a fan of that one. It wasn't until Recovery that I was like, you know what, this is why I'm an Eminem fan. And that was all the more reason for me to look forward to his next album, whichever it was. And it turned out to be the sequel to the original Marshall Mathers. Now, the reason why I gave this mini history lesson was just to give you an idea of the kind of standard I had for the artist himself, that I was a fan of his body of work. I actually went back to listen to Slim Shady LP in its entirety, and as it turned out, I didn't mention earlier, but Rock Bottom is actually one of my favorite tracks of Eminem ever. Just one of his more honest songs. I listened to Infinite just for the sake of listening to it. It was a different Eminem, but that's neither here nor there. So let's actually talk about the album itself. So I'm actually going to look at the title and explain that it's really a double-edged sword in that naming it, in my opinion, naming it Marshall Mathers LP 2 really opens the door. He's going to be compared to his former work. That much is a given. But this is arguably his best album, the original Marshall Mathers LP, if you look at his first 3. And to drop a new album and say 2, you're already going to be looking at the first one, which had the said tracks like Stan, Real Slim Shady, The Way I Am, and so on and so forth. And it's like, okay, we're expecting a lot more of that. But, as I mentioned in my review, that's a really different Eminem, and artistically and, how he's matured as a person. If he was to rap this, not style-wise, but content-wise, as he did back in 99, he'd be a very, very stagnant artist, and it wouldn't be a very good album overall. His style, can't say style because he has this style, it's just weird. He's Eminem for a reason. He still has it, whatever you want to call it. It's just he's rapping about different things, and he touches on some of the old stuff, but as far as the homophobia and the stuff he was kind of known for in the past, I'm not saying it's not there, but don't go into his album looking for that. I need an anthem to hate. It's like you're not going to find that in this album. Just a couple of tracks I want to shout out. Oh, actually, when the albums come out, I tend to avoid the singles just so I myself can find a song and stick out the most. But I believe the known singles as of date are Berserk, Rap God, and The Monster. There may be another one or something, I'm not sure, but all three of those I could see why they're singles, because even in my review, virtually avoiding all those tracks, I found those to be some of the better tracks in the whole album. Namely Berserk, that's actually my favorite one. In fact, in my review, I likened that to Jay-Z's 99 Problems. Obviously, I commented on the link, the Rick Rubin link, but Berserk, I think that's the best track, if I could be a little biased here. Also, Rap God, not much to say about it. I mean, he's basically said everything. 6 minutes, you don't even have a chance to take in the things he's saying, because he's saying so much in that track. And it really showcased the kind of just onslaught he can do. It's like, I didn't even know what he was talking about. I was just like, and it sucked because it's a 6-minute song, and I had to play it again and again and again just to get an idea, or think I got an idea of what the song was about. But overall, it's a good track. What I will say though, which I did touch on in my review, one of my biggest gripes with this album was the lack of Dre. He did executive produce the album. You can see that right here. Whatever, you can see it here. But he, no production. And I did mention this before. I know he has a lot going on. He had a lot going on in his life. But the things that Eminem and Dre did together was kind of like what Dre and Snoop Dogg did years ago. And knowing that this album was March Mathers LP 2, I was hoping for a little more of that old school magic, but I guess that wasn't the case. But we did have tracks like the one with Kendrick Lamar. It was pretty interesting. I was kind of touching on the fact that they are two of the more notable apprentices of Dr. Dre, and it was cool to finally have them on the track together. It was gonna happen, especially with this whole Control that he dropped. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a Big Sean's track. It's actually more of a Kendrick Lamar one, now that I think about it. But it's pretty cool that they actually collaborated together. And I actually, in my review, mentioned hopefully they can do maybe more collaborations, maybe on a Watch the Throne level, the two of them, or even include the TDE group guys and also Slaughterhouse. Do some big sort of Cruel Summer thing, except actually good. If there's one thing that Eminem brought home this time around, it was a track titled Headlights, and it actually brought closure to the years and many years of just the dysfunction that he had between his mom that he aired lyrically. And it's weird because I didn't expect that at all. It's actually a very vulnerable Eminem. He just kind of shows that he grew up, and he's relating to his mom and talking about he can only imagine what she's gone through, and he's basically apologizing to her. So that was one of the better tracks to me. Hopefully that makes a single, not only because it sounds good, but it actually says, you know what, it's over, because it's actually a really good move for Eminem. But one thing I did want to say though, Monster, not a bad song, but it's kind of getting tired of the whole Eminem Rihanna thing. Not that it's a bad thing, it's just that I think they did good with Love the Way You Lie. But between then and now, they have to have done at least 3 or 4 collaborations, including The Monster, and it just kind of loses its worth. I mean, it's a pretty good union of hip-hop and R&B, as I mentioned in my review. Probably the best since Ja Rule and Ashanti, which is a joke I made because Ja Rule doesn't like Eminem, I think. But all in all, I can see why it's a single, but there's a lot of songs, not just Monster, but including that one, I was just like, you know, I could have done with that. All in all, is it a bad album? Not at all. But I will stand my ground by saying that, given not just the title of the album itself, but for the artist, I had really high hopes. And unfortunately, looking at the full body of work, of course, this is the deluxe edition, but I only reviewed up to the standard, the 16 tracks, just so everyone's on the same page. But to me, this felt more like an expansion of Recovery than anything else. It just felt more like of the new Eminem. I guess it'll take some getting used to. I was hoping that reviewing an album a week after it came out would give me enough time to, you know, stay away from the new album hype and just let myself absorb the album a bit more. But not a bad album, but expected greater things out of it. But who knows? Who would have thought, speaking a lot here, that I would ever be referring to the original Marshall Mathers as a classic album. It's been well over 10 years since it was released, and now here we are with the successor. So maybe given some time, I'll hold this album in a similar light. It's like a different, Eminem. So overall, I'm not really with the whole number ratings or letters, but if I were to give him one, I would say 3.5 or 4 out of 5. Good but not great, especially considering the artist, but that's just my opinion. Now, seeing how that was my opinion, I'm looking forward to hearing your opinion. You can leave a comment either in my review, which I'll link to the video, or in the comments below. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to tell a friend. And that's all I have for now. That is the Marshall Mathers LP 2 album review, my first video review. Hope you liked it. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.